Investing into the stock market has never been easier due to the growth of ETFs that has sparked remarkable industry growth, and you can see there are no signs of this turning around. Now, if you don't already know from watching my content, ETFs are pretty much a simple way to buy hundreds to thousands of different investments all within one purchase. And for this video, I decided to test 10 popular ETF portfolios, and as you watch the video, you'll see exactly which ones have done the best, why exactly that is, and what type of investments you'd ideally want to avoid or maybe purchase depending on your situation. But before I get started, my name is Sully. I run the company InvestLane with the mission to help others learn how to save and invest wisely to build lasting wealth. And all I ask is that if you do find value from this video, that you consider hitting the like, subscribe, and notifications button for future content like this. With that said, the portfolios on this list are all in order based on the amount of ETFs that are inside of them. So the first one here is going to be our benchmark that we're going to compare to using a total market one fund portfolio. Now, there are a few broad index ETFs that you could use here, like the S&P 500 through a popular ETF like Vanguard's VOO, or a total US stock market ETF like Vanguard's VTI. But because these solely track US stocks, I decided for this portfolio as the benchmark to use an ETF that covers the entire world through the Vanguard Total World Stock ETF VT. And so when you buy VT, you are instantly getting exposure to both foreign and US stocks that cover both well-established and still developing markets, where the fund currently contains just over 10,000 different stocks. Now, some of the top companies in the fund include Nvidia, Apple, and Microsoft, and because this fund is considered a market cap weighted fund, it means the largest companies carry the largest amount of weight toward the fund. And also know that VT has exposure to about 64% in North American stock, with Europe, the Pacific, and emerging markets thereafter. But above all, if we look over the past 10 years, tracking from January 2016 to December 2025, you can see that an initial $100,000 back in 2016 would now be worth just over $300,000 because the fund has grown 11.77% per year on average, with the maximum drawdown the fund saw was down about 25.5%. Now, just to give you an idea, the S&P 500, which covers 500 of the largest publicly traded US companies, a fund like VOO would have grown to almost $400,000 by averaging 14.79% per year, where its max drawdown was just around 24%. All in all, if you were looking to gain access to stocks across the entire world in the simplest way possible, VT is likely your top choice. But this is where things start to get more interesting, and the next portfolio to discuss is famously known as the Warren Buffett two-fund portfolio. Now, Warren Buffett is known to be one of the wisest investors of all time, who has founded and built Berkshire Hathaway into a massive holding company that is now roughly $1 trillion, which, not to mention, but Buffett's net worth is currently sitting around the $140 billion mark. And with over 80 years of the investing experience that he has, he recommends that most investors keep it simple and put 90% into an S&P 500 index fund for the long term and 10% into short-term government bonds for stability and cash-like safety. And so for this portfolio, he specifically suggests Vanguard's ETFs, where the S&P 500 ETF is VOO and the short-term government bond is through VGSH. And when we look at the performance of this portfolio from January 2016 to December 2025, Warren Buffett's two-fund portfolio would have turned $100,000 into roughly $350,000 by averaging about 13.5% per year, which is about 2% higher than the total market portfolio with VT. Which, not to mention, but the maximum drawdown was also slightly better, by the worst moment being down roughly 22%. But speaking of two-fund portfolios, the next one also contains two funds that I actually decided to create myself, and I'm referring to as the Sully Taxable Growth two-fund portfolio. Now, the name here says it all, and this is a super simple portfolio for nearly anyone to at least start with that is aiming to achieve strong growth over time in a normal taxable brokerage account. I'll also mention a few add-ons later on that I'd also recommend, but to just keep it simple with two funds, the first one for this portfolio is a US large cap growth ETF, where the top three choices here would be Invesco's QQQ, Vanguard's VUG, or the one I personally use, that is Charles Schwab's SCHG. The reason for this addition is that one, it is super cheap to own, two, they've historically done very well for investors over time, and the third is something that many don't think about when they invest, and that's the fact that dividends are taxed whether you reinvest them or not. Because of this, growth investments like those three are among the most tax efficient options that you can buy and hold long term to maximize the growth on your money. Plus, companies that pay low or no dividends, it's typically because they are reinvesting their dividends to further even more growth. And so understanding the tax efficiency on your investments is crucial when building a portfolio portfolio in a taxable account. And this graphic we created at InvestLane shows the least to most tax efficient options to consider, where growth oriented stocks or index funds are great anywhere, and then high income producing investments, for example, you'd ideally want to avoid in taxable accounts. And for an even better understanding, the numbers in this image use a median income earner in the 22% federal tax bracket and show how an ETF like JPI could cause an annual tax drag of 1.65% per year, where SCHG is a super low 0.06%. But as far as this portfolio, to keep it simple and generic, I am saying to put 50% into SCHG and then the other 50% toward an S&P 500 ETF like VOO, IVV, or SPYM that are all great options for long-term investors. And best of all, if we look at the past 10-year performance, this portfolio would have turned $100,000 into $465,000 by averaging 16.62% per year. Now realize that the past doesn't guarantee anything in the future, but US large cap stocks as a whole have proven historically over nearly a century of time to be incredibly strong investments for those with patience. Which, not to forget, but the maximum drawdown was just slightly worse by being almost 28%, and you can see other relevant data to compare if you're interested. And so like I said, a few other tax efficient options I like to add here would be toward technology with an ETF like the Vanguard Infotech VGT, and then to also invest into gold with GLD or GLDM for long-term investors, or Bitcoin where you can get an ETF like Fidelity's FBTC or iShares IBIT for those actively trading. And I'll also mention that I have a handful of individual stocks that I keep the allocation to about 10 to 15%. But knowing all of that, moving on to the next portfolio, we have the popular Bogleheads 3-fund portfolio. Now for those that don't know, Bogleheads are investing enthusiasts in a community that pretty much follow Vanguard's founder, John Bogle's philosophies. And so to sum up this portfolio, the Bogleheads 3-fund portfolio is meant to help gain exposure to the entire stock and bond market in the simplest way possible. To do this, they suggest 3 funds that start with the Vanguard Total US Stock Market ETF VTI with 60% of the weight for a generic example, then the Total International Stock ETF VXUS with 20% of the weight, and then a bond market ETF BND that also has 20% of the weight. And now when we look at the historical performance, this portfolio would have turned $100,000 into $280,000 by averaging 10.79% annually, which that actually would have underperformed the Total World ETF VT, but the maximum drawdown was about 23%. Now I will mention I've created an entire free index fund cheat sheet that shows data to top investments in the market, and all these portfolios are inside of that spreadsheet, so if you want to also check that out, I'll have a direct link to that in the description below. But from there, moving on to the next portfolio, I like to call the YouTubers 3-fund portfolio. Now this portfolio has recently gained a lot of traction recently on YouTube, with Nolan G leading the path for its simplicity and overall diversification. And so with this portfolio, you can see that it is split into 3 categories that are growth, core market exposure, and dividend equity. The growth is from US large cap stocks with an ETF like QQQ, VUG, or SCHG, where the core market exposure is through an S&P 500 ETF like VOO, IVV, or SPYM. And then if we look at the dividend exposure for more of that stability, if it were me, I would at least recommend as the one dominant option to be SCHD. So for this portfolio, we're going to just use 1/3 into QQQ that tracks the NASDAQ 100, 1/3 into VOO that tracks the S&P 500, and then 1/3 into SCHD that tracks the Dow Jones US Dividend 100 Index. Realize that those are all very credible ETFs available on the market, and if we look over the past 10 years, the portfolio would have turned $100,000 into $427,000 by averaging 15.63% per year, with a maximum drawdown less than VT that is about 24%. Now I have to mention that at least for me personally, I'm not interested in dividend stocks right now because I just want pure growth, but for those that are interested in a dividend income, that is a solid approach to take to reallocate based on your own situation. But moving on from there, the next portfolio is the Paul Merriman 4-fund portfolio. Now for those that don't know, Paul Merriman is an authority on mutual funds, index investing, and asset allocation who founded the Merriman Wealth Management Company in 1983 and has written numerous books on these topics. And so his simple 4-fund portfolio includes 25% toward the S&P 500 with an ETF like VOO, 25% toward large cap value stock with VTV, a small cap blend ETF like VB, and then a small cap value ETF like VBR, where I would actually prefer my personal favorite that is AVUV, but we don't have enough data to look back at 10-year performance with that ETF. Now, plenty of Merriman's research has actually come to show that most underestimate the success that small cap value has had historically, where one data point to look at is that over numerous time periods, the percentage of time each asset class has performed best came out to be small cap value by a significant margin. And so knowing that, if we look at the data over the past 10 years, this portfolio would have turned $100,000 into just over $300,000 by averaging 11.8% per year, which is roughly equivalent to VT. Yet the maximum drawdown was just slightly worse. Which, also remember that at least 10 years is a good length to measure, but it doesn't represent the full picture, and no one knows what the future holds. And so speaking of that, this next portfolio is the Ray Dalio 5-fund portfolio. Now, Ray Dalio is a billionaire investor who founded Bridgewater, an asset management firm, back in 1975 from his 2-bedroom apartment and grew it over 47 years into the global institution that it is today. And so through all of Dalio's experiences, his biggest emphasis that he has to others is to diversify across assets that are uncorrelated so that even in the worst economic seasons, your portfolio can remain stable, hence the name of the portfolio being the all-weather portfolio. Alright, so with this 5-fund portfolio, he states that 40% into long-term treasury bonds, where we'll use the ETF VGLT, then 30% into US stocks with Vanguard's VTI, then 15% into intermediate term treasury bonds with BIV, 7.5% into commodities with DBC, and 7.5% towards gold with GLD or GLDM. Now, because this portfolio was so heavily weighted towards bonds, the historical performance lately has actually not been great since we've had a very good market lately with equities. And so over the past 10 years, if we look at the data, the portfolio would have turned $100,000 into $189,000 by averaging 6.61% per year with a maximum drawdown of 20.68%. So while the goal here is stability in case we have a bear market, unless you really need to be safe with bond exposure and uncorrelated assets, I'd personally prefer to go elsewhere. But knowing that, the next portfolio to look at is the David Swensen 6-fund portfolio. Now, David Swensen was Yale's longtime chief investment officer who actually passed a few years ago in 2021. But his portfolio lives on, where he combined 6 funds into one, starting with 30% toward the total US stock market ETF VTI, 20% in real estate through exposure like VNQ, 15% in total international exposure like VXUS, 15% into tips with SCHP, 15% also into intermediate treasury bonds with VGIT, and then 5% into emerging markets with VWO. All in all, this portfolio over the past 10 years has turned $100,000 into roughly $215,000 by averaging 7.95%, which underperformed VT by quite a bit. Alright, but knowing that, the next portfolio to discuss here is the Coffeehouse 7-fund portfolio. Now, the Coffeehouse portfolio was built by Bill, I believe his last name is pronounced Schulteis, who was a Wall Street veteran and financial advisor at Soundmark Wealth Management, who made the points for this portfolio to be: don't put all your eggs in one basket, there's no such thing as free lunch, and save for a rainy day. And so to sum up this portfolio, we have 40% toward US total market bonds with an ETF like BND, 10% towards large cap US stocks with VOO, 10% towards large cap value stocks like VOOV, 10% towards small cap stocks with VB, another one towards small cap value stocks VBR, and then 10% towards REITs with VNQ, and then the last 10% toward international stock with Vanguard's VXUS. All in all, with this portfolio over the past 10 years, it would have turned $100,000 into nearly $200,000 by averaging 7.07% per year with a max drawdown of 19.7%. It's really not that impressive, but if you look at the ETFs in the portfolio, if you were to take out the 40% towards bonds and put that into large cap stocks, it's really not a terrible portfolio. But from there, the last one to mention here is one that I've also created and personally like a ton, and is set up very similar to how I have my Roth IRA set up, and that is the Danny Sully Ultimate 9-Fund Portfolio. Now, I've already created an entire video on this portfolio specifically that contains 10 funds instead of 9, and I'll explain why that is in a second, but the biggest thing to realize here is how I built this portfolio. You see, the ultimate design behind this is that you first want to build a foundation that is roughly 50 to 70% into 2 ETFs that are the S&P 500 like VOO and large cap growth like SCHG, VUG, QQQ, or QQQM. Notice how these 2 investments are the exact ones from earlier that I mentioned in the 2-fund taxable growth portfolio because they're simple yet very effective. But now with this ultimate portfolio, it gives you awareness to many more of the top ETFs in the market that you may want to choose from based on what you believe could do best and your own situation. For example, I have set up that after the 50 to 70% foundation, I then have 20 to 40% going towards strategic tilts that consist of areas like large cap momentum SPMO, mid cap momentum XMMO that could both do very well if you believe a bull market is ahead. Aside from that, for small cap exposure, I really like the ETF AVUV for for full tech exposure, I like Vanguard's VGT, and then specifically for semiconductors, if you believe in the AI revolution, I like SMH. After that, I then categorize this to be 5 to 15% as diversifiers outside of US stocks that include international stock with VXUS, VEA, or IEFA, where you could also do momentum with IDMO. And then I also have gold exposure with GLD, and then Bitcoin with FBTC. Now, if you counted properly, that makes up 10 ETFs, but for this video, I decided to remove Bitcoin from the portfolio because if we look at the 10-year data with that included, even when I only placed 5% of a weight toward Bitcoin, the portfolio's return shot up because Bitcoin earlier in the years grew significantly, which isn't likely to happen as strong in the future since it has now gone mainstream. Now, before I show the data, the last point I want to mention is to those that love dividend investing, and for that, I have two optional dividend ETFs that I like here that I would consider, and that would be the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF SCHD, and then the iShares Core Dividend Growth ETF DGRO. But aside from that, looking at the original 9 ETFs, excluding the Bitcoin exposure, if we were to allocate 30% to VOO, 30% to SCHG, and then 6% into each SPMO, XMMO, AVUV, VGT, and SMH, and then 5% to VEA and GLD, or GLDM for long-term investors, you can see that over the past 10 years, this portfolio would have turned $100,000 into nearly $500,000 by averaging 17.36% per year, with the max drawdown just slightly worse than the Total World ETF VT. Now, if you're curious what allowed this portfolio to do so well over the past 10 years, the top 3 best performing ETFs started with the semiconductor ETF SMH that has averaged 31.34% per year over the past 10 years, where VGT has grown 21.44% per year on average, and the third highest you probably wouldn't expect, and that was the Midcap Momentum ETF XMMO that has averaged 18.3% per year on average. Now, if there's anything to take away from this video, the biggest thing to notice is that US large cap stocks, like keeping it simple with the S&P 500, that has by far been a superior long-term option for investors, and anything that you add after that should really have a clear purpose for your portfolio and your own situation. And like I said, don't forget, but the past does not guarantee the future, but if you do like the idea of this portfolio and you want to learn more, I highly recommend checking out the other video that I created in great detail with many great visuals. And don't forget that if you also want to see some of the top ETFs, I highly recommend checking out our free index fund cheat sheet that I've created. And not to mention, but if you want to get started on a new investing platform or even high yield savings account, consider checking out our reviews by InvestLane that could help you get started. At the end of the day, I want you to do what's best for your finances, but do know that depending on the ones you choose to get started with, I may earn a commission for it, which is greatly appreciated. And as always, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notifications button for future content like this.